Hey guys, welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine's weekly show. I'm your host Khalid Mohidin, and this is a segment where we bring you all the hot topics from the past week. Before we get going into this week's topics, I want you guys to like this video, comment in the comment section below, and please subscribe so we can bring you more content. Let's do this. So guys, today I'm bringing you back from Japan, Alasdair Fraser. I'm so excited for you to be here because we have such great conversations. And it has been quite a difficult week. We know that on social media, everybody is going crazy about the Proteas losing so emphatically in this Test Championship, in the opening match of the Test Championship. Obviously, they lost by an innings and 100 odd runs in the second Test, and that was quite heartbreaking for a lot of us. But we want to get going with that first. Let's talk about that. I want to know your take about the defeat. We lost the first two games. What is your thoughts on those games, and were there any learnings? Because I know you brought out an opinion piece where you spoke about some of the learnings that you took away from the series. Can you just maybe give a brief summary of that?
Well, I took a lot of stuff to learn from that those past two tests. The first test was quite good. They were there or thereabouts. Obviously, didn't get to watch it ball by ball, but was following it throughout the time that I was in Japan. Perhaps the worst part was we never won the toss.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And that's maybe we need to look at that. Maybe in the third test we win the toss and perhaps we bat first. To win the toss in India, you've basically won half the game, and not really trying to take anything away from India, but that right from the start we were against it. So the main points that I took out from these tests is that the number 3 spot, it's a gaping hole. We don't have a set top 6 lineup, and there's no momentum at all going with it. I thought Bavuma's 38 in the second test, he has the fighting spirit and he's due 100. I see a few hundreds from him against England if he bats high up the order. But the tennis to brain, with huge respect to him, he's a great player. It's just not working. And yes, he scored that 100 against Sri Lanka, and perhaps that kept him in the team because he was able to play spin, and that must have helped and aided in his selection. But I just don't see him as the number 3 spot. He'll struggle against England, and they'll target him once they get the openers out, because Dean Elgar's been fantastic. He seems to be on form and in a good space, but Markram needs time, and we need our openers to fire against England. That's the main first point that we need to discuss. I'm sure you agree that there's a big question mark in that area, and that's the main point I take out from these past two tests.
Yeah, because I brought out a piece based on the reactions that we were getting on Twitter, especially. There was a lot of questions now. There's a lot of questions hanging over Tienus de Bruyn's position in the squad, as well as Temba Bavuma. Now, Zubair Hamza is waiting in the wings to make his start in India, and a lot of people know the classiness that this boy has. Unbelievable calmness, hard worker, very classy at the crease, good elegant strokes, very good batsman, very unique batsman. And the topic came about where people were questioning those two players and looking into the franchise series and looking for players to replace the ones that are already there. So I had a look. I went and did some research, and I checked what happened over the last 2-3 years, who were the top performers in the top 10 consistently. And we came up with a few guys, Edward Moore, Peter Malan, there was Rassie van der Dussen. I know you wrote a great column about that. You guys can check that. I'll put it up on the screen. And there's also a guy, Rudy Second, and also there's Keegan Peterson that scored almost 1,000 runs last season. So there are a few guys, and recently also Carl Verreynne. That's an interesting topic, but I want to talk a little bit later about. But my thing is, when I'm putting together a squad and I'm looking over the next 2 years, we have a Test Championship here. So the Test Championship runs over 2 years. You play a certain amount of people. Don't you build a team that for the future? Because I don't think we'll win this Test Championship with the inexperience that we have. We have the only experience that we have. Now, a lot of people will say, yes, let's balance the team out. Let's play experience and youth. And then we only have 3 experienced Proteas international players around. Dean Alga, Faf du Plessis, and Vernon Philander. There are not many experienced international cricketers that we have available to us. So any person, no matter what their age is, if you're going to bring in a new guy into the system, whether he's 34, 30, 32, 29, 22 or 21, it doesn't matter what his age is, he's going to be inexperienced internationally.
Yeah.
So you can bring a guy like Rassi in to the system. I don't mind that because he has been in and around the setup. But for me, a guy like Rudy Second as a wicketkeeper batsman, there is no difference for me between him, besides the fact that he has domestic experience. Besides that, there's no difference between him and someone like Alvarez. So my take is trust the younger guy because he'll be around for much longer. The only way you can get experience in India is by playing the best in India. There's no other way. So these guys won't have any insights into how to play the game internationally or how to play in India. So that's just my take on that.
Well, the thing is you know, and you bring up a good point with Carl Verheyen, is at the youthful side. So you had an individual like Mark Boucher coming into the setup, an established setup, the Hansi Cronje era, as a 20-year-old, and making a statement right away, and going through a career that lasted 15 years, 15 seasons. Wow. A wealth of experience. You saw that the amount of dismissals he got throughout his whole international career. Rudy Second is a good player. I would personally go for Carl Verheyen now. We don't have much time to blood a team, so we might as well get cracking on it now instead of playing to win. The series against England, we have to play to win. We can't actually experiment too much.
Yeah.
In the past, we've tried to, and we've come short. We've gone to England in one test series with an established team, obviously experienced core team within that side. We can replicate that to a degree if we do a couple of shifting in the batsmen. So, you know, the other second point was that I made in my piece was about bringing Quinton de Kock up the order. So what one could do is bring him up higher. It alleviates pressure on Bavuma. Have Faf at 5. Bring in a Carl Verheyen or Rudy Second as your wicketkeeper who can bat. I think Carl Verheyen would be perfect. And start to blood these guys in now. Or keep de Kock, put Rassie van der Dussen in, and bring up Bavuma at number 3. You have a lineup of Markram, Elgar, Bavuma, Rassie van der Dussen, who kind of is the stopgap in case anything goes wrong in the top 3. You've got Faf, the calming hand of Faf, and de Kock at 6. That's a pretty decent lineup to take on England, and they'll be able to handle the conditions because it'll be home conditions.
Yeah, so that's an interesting point because it's all about the rebuilding phase. We're starting afresh. We're building a new team. There's a new generation. Like you said, back in the day, there was always a core group of experienced players, and then you blood the youngsters in around them. And then by the time those guys retire, then the new guys are experienced. So we're hoping that we have that core with a core of youngsters, but we don't have that core of experienced players who are averaging high in Test cricket. So, I mean, Faf is a great player, mind you, but he only averages 40. If you look at some of the top batsmen in the world, if you look at Steve Smith, if you look at Virat Kohli, if you look at those guys, they're averaging 50 plus.
And look where they're batting.
And look where they're batting.
And de Kock's in the top 10 of the ICC batting rankings. And where's he batting? 6.
Yeah. So that's important that we have our best batsmen batting up the order. So I agree with you 100% that I think it's time for Quinton to drop the gloves and bat up the order because he's our best player. And we build a team around him, Markram, Kagiso Rabada, Lungi Ngidi, Andrich Nokia. We build a team around them. So now it's important that we recruit right. Now my thing is, the only way, like I said earlier on, for them to get international experience is by playing international cricket against the best. I feel that if a 5 from Faf du Plessis and a 5 from Zubair Ramza, the 5 from Zubair Ramza is way more valuable to him than a 5 from Faf du Plessis. He's done it all already. I thought that it was time for him to actually retire before this test series, that this championship started already. I thought after the World Cup, he should have done what JP Dumini, what Hashim Amla, what all of them did, and decided to hang up their boots and give the next generation a chance. He could have been, if he wanted to, the CSA could have employed him as a consultant, as a captain's consultant, to be around the team and to give them insight and give the new captain insight. But this team needs to learn the hard way. But that's just my point of view. And the only reason I'm saying that is because we don't have a large international experience pool to pick from.
Yeah. Look, it's for me there. it's a hard one because I would argue against that. But
Why would you argue against that though? I like this.
no, it's.
Yes.
I mean, it's the guy's done so much, and he's still got more to offer on the field, and you can't just take that away. And at the moment, we need as much experience as we can get to kind of get us through this tough time that's going on, because you see there's the other element of Hamza in there. He should be playing. I hope he gets picked in this third test. He needs more experience. He's already got a test cap. Where do you rearrange the order? Does the cock then open, and then Markram comes in at 3, and that finds space for Hamza to bat at 5? You see, where do we go in the whole kind of greater scheme of things? Because we can't just take away the pressure. What he's done before has helped our team over the line quite a few times.
So my thing is that this test championship, with it being a test championship now, I want to bring up this particular question because we had Andrik Nokia's comments saying that the series loss doesn't really matter right now. It's about getting that 40 points, because in a 3-match test series, you get 40 points for every win that you get, and to get points on the board is important. Remember that you only play one team in the subcontinent. We'll play India once in the 2 years. It's not like you're going to go to the subcontinent. There's not a lot of teams in the subcontinent. So my thing is this: is it as important to learn how to play in India now? If we're struggling so much in India, is it as important to learn the conditions and to spend a lot of money for us to be able to invest into that? Or do we just take that as a loss? Because at the end of the day, when you meet if you're going to meet India in the final, you're going to play them at Lords. You're not going to play them in Indian subcontinent conditions. Yeah. So as a strategy going into this test championship, how do you approach it?
That's probably one of the best questions I've heard in a flippin' long time about what's been going on. I didn't even think about the actual state of that. Is that, we're only playing India once this series. Once there's been time spent on how to play spin. Yes, it will help in the long run, hopefully, and I think that's maybe how they looked at it. But I'm actually stumped now, because you're so right. Maybe we should have been focusing on building the right team to play against England in a home series, when it's a perfect opportunity to pick up a ton of points, because we can beat England. It's not a great Australian test outfit. They had Warner back, and he didn't do much, but Smith back, and he scored a ton of runs. But Australia at times looked pretty ordinary, and it wasn't the best of England teams. I mean, they'll thrive here. It's a great country to tour. This is probably one of the best countries to tour in a series. But maybe there should have been more focus on that. Look, we've got an MSL to get through. We saw an Andrik Nokia come out of nowhere because of MSL. We might see a couple of other performances that might fast track some of these guys into the test team, and that's something positive to look at. But it's a good point, and it's maybe perhaps there should have been more Hamzas playing, and more kind of playing around with the team to get it match fit for England.
So I'm going to pose another question to you, and a question to you guys too, because I've been really thinking about this test championship, because it's a very different type of tournament. It's not like we used to play test cricket before. So obviously it's a tournament. It's over 2 years. We do it with spinners. Okay, so just bear with me. We do this with spinners. When we play in India, we add an extra spinner to the squad. So we can put the possibility of playing 3 spinners. So if we can do it with bowlers, why can't we do it with batsmen? So for example, we know that Aiden Markram is great at home, and he's good on fast tracks. He'll be good in Australia, he'll be good in New Zealand, he'll be good here in South Africa, and majority of the places that he plays at, he'll be a decent batsman. In England too, because we've seen how he performed there.
So you're looking at like a 75%.
Yeah. So 75% of the games, this guy will fire. So then why pick him in India? Why can't we pick a specific batsman who can play spin just for that series? Because you have to think about winning the test championship. Why can't we do that with batsmen? So why not we could put him in the squad, let him learn. Have him there, let him learn. But play someone else if he's struggling against spin. Let him learn by being in the environment, practicing on the pitches. To let him go and do that for that period. And then just play someone else that is more comfortable for that particular series, and then for the rest of the series you play Aiden.
You see, you're thinking out the box here, and I'm perhaps thinking that the Proteas brains trust are not thinking out the box, because it's a good point too. You could have had him there. You could have had maybe Hamza opening or De Kock opening, playing a Rudy second. Okay, he was injured, but maybe Carl Verena. Of course, now he's playing in the domestic league. He has to. His stats say that, etc., etc. But kind of think out the box. Try and get as many guys test cap ready. Get a few test caps, new test caps. So you've got a pool now of guys who've got 1 or 2 test caps to choose from, and then go forward from there. It's a valid point, because you're thinking strategically now. You're thinking where to bank points, because we actually got to now, with this Test Championship, not go the old way of, we're going to beat you in a series home and away, X, Y, and Z. Now it's like we've got 2 years to get X amount of points. Let's strategically get it in that way. Blood players that are specialists, and then not play them when they're back here. So revert back to your team. I'm glad you spoke about the spinning thing. Why did we play 3 spinners? With huge respect to Motasami, what the hell was he doing there? Because yes, he played well at the bat, and good all-rounder. Spinning all-rounders don't do it for me, to be quite honest. You're either a spinner or a batsman, not a spinning all-rounder. For me, an all-rounder is a guy that bowls 130 plus and bats well. That's a South African. That's your archetypical, like, South African all-rounder. We're not seeing that at all. And why do we? I mean, over the past 27 years that I've watched South Africa play international cricket, we've tried the 2-spinner option when we played, and it's failed every time. The fast bowlers have been so great that they've taken all the wickets, and maybe 1 or 2 wickets from the spinners. We've even done the 3-spinner thing, and it backfired horrendously. It never works. We're not a spinning country. I think
Sorry,
that I'm getting warmed up about it.
I think that the key thing in India is that it's consistency more than anything else. We say that yes, the spinners take the wickets, but it's because the spinners are so successful to keep that ball in exactly the same spot every single time.
The same revolutions, the same flight, the way the ball dips in that spot, which frustrates our guys because they're used to our spinners not doing that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what the trick is. It's about consistency. And even with the bat, that's what India showed. We didn't see a Virat Kohli that scored 100 in 80 balls, 90 balls. We saw a Virat Kohli that did it in double the balls.
Yeah.
So, like, it's about adapting your game to the situation and picking the players that are right for that particular series and for that particular conditions. We needed more batsmen to grind it out, to be patient, that weren't looking to be to have an attacking game. More guys like Dean Elgar. So, I mean, yes, Faf's attacking approach worked, but he didn't get a century.
Yeah.
So, we needed someone to bat long, to put in the hard yards. That's why guys like Jacques Callis did so exceptionally well over there. And people, obviously, there's a lot of coaches and people that back Tiernus de Bruin to be that type of batsman that grinds it out, that has that type of mentality and that type of mindset.
I'm afraid.
So, guys, I know we gave you quite a long video, but we would like to do more of these type of long videos down the line. Let us know if you enjoy them. So I want you guys to get into the debate. Tell me who you think should be, how we should approach this Test Championship. So put your comments in the comment section below. Give us a like, give us a share. And also, guys, let us know what your ideal squad will be for every single opponent that we play in. Thanks, guys, and enjoy, and we'll see you again next week.